I think the challenging thing for many of our health professionals is that they're being indoctrinated into the culture of their discipline. They're being trained as health professionals who are meant to be experts. And of course they are in their field, but sometimes when we position ourselves as experts, we forget to listen and learn from other people.
Unless providers are able to quiet the insides, including the chatter in the mind, and even the chatter of one's own story, it's not really possible to hear. And to not only hear, but to provide the environment so that the person across from you has free rein to say as much or as little as they may want to about why they are here to see me as a provider. We know from so many studies, we don't need another one, I think, that if we listen to who's speaking in a room, in a patient visit, in 15 minutes, 12 minutes of it, the doctor speaking or the provider speaking. 3 minutes of it, the patient speaking. Should at least be reversed, if not half and half.
I might have a message, but what message have the people I'm working with or in teaching or in service delivery and healthcare practice have to tell as well? And if I'm only focused on my story, what I want to tell, then it's my agenda, not the agenda of the people that you're working with. So you can't be responsive to people's priorities if you're only responsive to your own self-determined direction and agenda, if you like. So you've got to be able to listen. You've got to be able to hear. You've got to be able to cope with silence.
I know for myself, as an English first language speaker, silence is not a comfortable thing. For a lot of people who speak English, sitting in silence is a real challenge. And when you're working with cultures who have silence embedded in them, in their communication style, it's something that you really have to work at.
If you are listening in a way that is, well, I've asked a question, I'm not getting the answer I want, so I'll ask the question again, or in simpler terms, or I'll increase my volume, that is only going to make that communication get worse.
Listening is very important. There was a publication that came out over 10 years ago. It's done mostly on white doctors. It comes from Western Ontario in London. They asked the question to physicians who had stayed in our communities in a certain part of Ontario for greater than 10 years. They've been practicing there for a number of years. And they did a qualitative study. And what they discovered was that what was it about the quality of those physicians, all of whom were not or are not Indigenous, that allowed them to stay in the environment and continue to provide care. And one of the top themes was their ability to begin to listen.